Arizona, once hailed as the land of affordable homes and endless sunshine, is now a financial minefield. In 2025, the housing dream is collapsing. Prices that skyrocketed by over 100% in less than a decade are now unraveling, leaving buyers trapped in underwater mortgages. From Phoenix to Tucson, entire neighborhoods sit unsold. Builders slash prices by tens of thousands, and insurance and taxes bleed homeowners dry. Families are paying over 60% of their income just to keep the lights on. This isn't just a slowdown, it's a housing nightmare. These are the 10 worst Arizona cities to buy a home in 2025. Number 10. Chandler. Chandler, once the golden child of Arizona's tech corridor, is now showing cracks that should terrify any hopeful homebuyer. The median home price here sits around $545,000, nearly double what it was just 5 years ago when homes hovered closer to $280,000. That meteoric rise looked unstoppable in 2021, fueled by Silicon Valley migrants and speculative investors. But in 2025, Chandler's market is unraveling. Prices are slipping fast, with average home values falling 8% year over year, and the once feverish bidding wars have completely evaporated. The monthly cost of owning here has exploded. With a 7% mortgage rate, a typical 30-year loan on a median-priced Chandler home comes out to roughly $3,625 a month, not including property taxes and insurance. Speaking of insurance, premiums in Maricopa County have surged nearly 40% since 2022 to extreme heat risks and water scarcity concerns. For a standard single-family home, annual homeowners insurance can top $2,800, adding yet another nail in the coffin of affordability. Inventory is also ballooning. Chandler currently has a 5-month supply of homes, compared to just 1.2 months during the pandemic boom. Builders, who once couldn't pour concrete fast enough, are now stuck slashing prices on new developments, many of which sit empty. Rental markets aren't offering relief either. Average rents are above $2,100 per month, and landlords are struggling to fill units as tenants flee to cheaper suburbs. What makes Chandler especially dangerous for buyers is the illusion of prosperity. High-tech employers like Intel and microchip plants gave this city a reputation for stability. But with rising layoffs and slowing relocations, the rug is being pulled out. Chandler is no longer the safe bet it once was. It's turning into a financial minefield where buyers risk overpaying for an asset that's bleeding value by the month. Number 9. Tucson. Tucson was once marketed as the affordable alternative to Phoenix, a desert city with mountain views and a slower lifestyle. But in 2025, that affordable label has all but vanished. The median home price in Tucson now sits around $365,000, up from just $210,000 in 2019. That's a staggering 74% jump in 6 years, and now the correction has begun. Home values are already down about 10% year over year, with sellers slashing tens of thousands off asking prices just to get showings. The affordability crisis here is brutal. With current mortgage rates hovering near 7%, a $365,000 home means a monthly payment of about $2,450 before taxes and insurance. Property taxes, while lower than Phoenix, still tack on about $2,200 annually, and homeowners insurance has ballooned to around $1,700 a year, driven by wildfire risk in surrounding foothills. Suddenly, Tucson isn't looking like a cheap desert escape. Inventory tells an even darker story. The city now has a 6-month housing supply, more than double what it was during the pandemic frenzy. Foreclosures are quietly rising too, with filings up nearly 30% compared to 2023, as pandemic-era buyers struggle with ballooning mortgage payments. Meanwhile, rents are skyrocketing. Average rent in Tucson is now $1,750 per month, a 35% increase in just 3 years, pushing tenants to the brink. What's most alarming is Tucson's job market lagging behind housing costs. Median household income here is only $55,000, far below the state average. That means a typical Tucson family would need to spend nearly 50% of their income just to cover a mortgage. It's a recipe for collapse. Buyers who thought Tucson was the last affordable city in Arizona, are waking up to a nightmare of overvalued homes, mounting bills, and an inevitable price freefall. Number 8. Glendale. Glendale, the city once synonymous with sports arenas and suburban growth, is now one of the riskiest places to buy a home in Arizona. The median home price here is about $415,000, nearly double the $220,000 average from 2018. That run-up created massive pressure, and 2025 is bringing the backlash. Prices have already slipped 7% in the last year, and experts warn of steeper declines as demand evaporates. Monthly ownership costs are brutal. A $415,000 home with today's mortgage rates translates to a payment of around $2,750 per month, excluding taxes and insurance. Property taxes average $2,600 annually, and insurance has surged past $2,200 a year in parts of Glendale due to extreme heat and storm risks. Suddenly, those suburban homes built for middle-class families are financially crushing. Glendale's oversupply problem is worsening. The city currently sits at nearly a 5.5-month housing inventory, compared to less than 2 months in 2021. Developers who raced to build new subdivisions during the pandemic boom are now unloading homes with heavy discounts, some slashing prices by $40,000 to $60,000 just to attract buyers. The rental market is no safer. Average rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Glendale now exceeds $1,950 per month, up nearly 30% in 4 years. Yet household incomes haven't kept pace, with the median sitting around $64,000. That leaves both renters and buyers spending far beyond recommended affordability levels. Glendale also suffers from a hidden risk: water. As part of the Phoenix Metro, it relies heavily on dwindling Colorado River allocations. Insurance carriers are beginning to flag long-term drought exposure, and premiums are likely to rise further. For buyers, Glendale is no longer the suburban dream. It's a financial trap where costs are exploding, values are shrinking, and long-term risks keep piling up. Number 7. Prescott Valley. Prescott Valley was once the quiet mountain town where retirees and families went to escape the Phoenix sprawl. But in 2025, it's turned into one of the most overpriced and dangerous housing markets in the state. The median home price here is about $420,000, up from just $240,000 in 2017, a staggering 75% increase in 8 years. Yet incomes in the region have barely budged, with the median household pulling in around $58,000 a year. That gap has made homeownership completely unsustainable. At today's mortgage rates of about 7%, a $420,000 home saddles a buyer with a monthly payment of roughly $2,800, not including taxes and insurance. Property taxes in Yavapai County average $2,300 annually, and insurance, boosted by wildfire risks in the surrounding high desert forests, can easily top $2,000 a year. Suddenly, what looked like a cozy mountain retreat becomes a crushing financial burden. The inventory situation is even worse. Prescott Valley now has close to a 7-month supply of homes, compared to under 2 months in the pandemic boom. Builders went on a frenzy here between 2020 and 2022, and now entire subdivisions sit half-empty. Price cuts of $50,000 or more are becoming common, yet buyers are still hesitating. Retirees, who make up a huge portion of Prescott Valley's market, are especially vulnerable. Many bought at inflated prices with the hope of stable retirement living, but fixed incomes are being wiped out by climbing insurance, utility costs, and property taxes. Rental markets aren't much better. Average rents hover near $1,900 a month, far above what locals can afford. Prescott Valley's dream of being a retirement haven has backfired. Instead, it's become a financial sinkhole where homes are overpriced, incomes lag, and the looming correction could leave new buyers underwater for years. Number 6. Buckeye. Buckeye was once the poster child for Arizona's rapid growth, an explosive boomtown ranked as the fastest-growing city in America just a few years ago. But that explosive growth has turned toxic. The median home price in Buckeye has hit $405,000, more than double the $190,000 average back in 2015. That surge was driven by investors, builders, and families fleeing Phoenix's high costs. Now, in 2025, the market is cracking under its own weight. At current mortgage rates, a $405,000 home costs about $2,700 a month, excluding taxes and insurance. Property taxes in Maricopa County average $2,400 a year, while insurance premiums, affected by extreme heat and water scarcity risks, are pushing toward $2,200 annually. For first-time buyers, these numbers are devastating. Buckeye's overbuilding problem is glaring. The city now sits with a 7.5-month housing supply, one of the highest in Arizona. Rows of new subdivisions that once sold out in days are now offering cashback incentives, free upgrades, and massive price cuts of $60,000 plus just to lure hesitant buyers. The rental market, once considered a fallback, is no safer. Average rents are nearing $1,950 per month, while Buckeye's median household income is only about $66,000. That means renters and buyers alike are sinking more than 40% of their income into housing. What makes Buckeye uniquely risky is its infrastructure lag. While homes exploded in number, water resources, roads, and public services have not kept pace. Residents are facing skyrocketing utility bills and long commutes, further eroding affordability. In 2025, Buckeye is no longer the American dream of cheap land and suburban promise. It's an overbuilt desert trap where inflated prices, unsustainable costs, and weak infrastructure are setting up a brutal correction. Number 5. Yuma. Yuma, known as the sunniest city on Earth, is anything but bright for today's homebuyers. The median home price here has skyrocketed to $310,000, up from just $165,000 in 2016, an 88% increase in less than a decade. That might not sound as expensive as Phoenix or Chandler, but here's the kicker. Yuma's median household income is only $51,000, one of the lowest in the state. That mismatch has created one of the most unstable housing markets in Arizona. At today's 7% mortgage rates, a $310,000 home comes with a monthly payment of around $2,050 before taxes and insurance. Property taxes tack on another $1,900 annually, while homeowners insurance, driven higher by extreme heat and flood risks along the Colorado River, averages $1,600 per year. For many Yuma families, that means spending more than 50% of their income just to keep a roof overhead. Inventory is flashing red warning signs. Yuma currently has a 6-month supply of homes, far higher than the 1.5-month frenzy in 2021. Sellers are slashing asking prices by $20,000 to $40,000, but demand is still collapsing. Foreclosure filings are up 28% compared to 2023, a grim signal that overextended buyers are already breaking. The rental market offers no relief either. Average rent in Yuma is $1,450 a month, up nearly 40% since 2019, forcing many low-income households into financial stress. Combine that with one of Arizona's highest unemployment rates, hovering around 7%, and Yuma looks like a ticking housing time bomb. The truth is, Yuma never had the economic base to support California-level housing inflation. And in 2025, the market is cracking. For buyers, Yuma isn't a bargain. It's a financial sand trap waiting to swallow anyone who steps in. Number 4. Casa Grande. Casa Grande was once hyped as the next big thing in Arizona real estate, sitting halfway between Phoenix and Tucson. The median home price here is now about $335,000, up from just $170,000 in 2015, a staggering 97% rise in less than 10 years. Developers flocked to build here, banking on promises of manufacturing jobs and suburban expansion. But in 2025, those promises are crumbling. At current rates, a $335,000 home equals a monthly mortgage payment of $2,200, excluding taxes and insurance. Property taxes average $2,100 annually, while insurance, already high due to extreme heat and floodplain risks, runs near $2,000 a year. For a city with a median household income of just $60,000, these numbers are crushing. Casa Grande's biggest problem is oversupply. Entire subdivisions were built in anticipation of population growth that hasn't fully materialized. Today, the city is sitting on nearly an 8-month housing supply, one of the highest in the state. Builders are offering desperate incentives: $20,000 in cash back, free appliances, even paying closing costs, and yet homes still sit unsold. The rental market is just as shaky. Average rent in Casa Grande has jumped to $1,600 per month, up nearly 35% in 4 years. But with incomes so low, tenants are increasingly unable to pay. Eviction filings have spiked nearly 25% year over year, showing just how unstable the market has become. Casa Grande's story is one of overhype. A few big industrial projects like electric car plants were supposed to transform the city into a boomtown. Instead, costs skyrocketed faster than wages, leaving buyers trapped in overpriced homes. In 2025, Casa Grande isn't the land of opportunity. It's the land of broken promises and collapsing values. Number 3. Scottsdale. Scottsdale has long sold itself as Arizona's crown jewel, a playground of golf courses, luxury shopping, and desert mansions. But in 2025, this jewel is starting to crack. The median home price in Scottsdale now sits at a jaw-dropping $725,000, more than triple the $235,000 median in 2011 after the last crash. That meteoric rise has created one of the most overvalued housing markets in the state. At today's mortgage rates of around 7%, a typical Scottsdale buyer faces monthly payments north of $4,800, not including property taxes and insurance. Add in Maricopa County's average property tax of $3,300 a year and insurance premiums that often exceed $3,500 annually for luxury homes, and ownership costs are exploding beyond reach, even for higher-income households. Inventory is piling up fast. Scottsdale currently has a 6-month supply of homes, compared to less than 2 months during the 2021 boom. Luxury listings are sitting on the market for months, forcing sellers to slash prices by $50,000 to $100,000 to get attention. But even with discounts, buyers are pulling back, spooked by affordability and looming economic uncertainty. The rental market offers no safe haven. Average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment is now $2,200 per month, while larger luxury rentals top $4,000. Yet the median household income in Scottsdale is $97,000, meaning even well-off families are spending 40% or more of their income on housing. The bigger problem? Scottsdale's market relies heavily on wealthy out-of-state buyers and investors. With high interest rates, declining stock market wealth, and shrinking demand for second homes, that buyer pool is evaporating. For locals, it means overpriced homes they can't afford. For investors, it means properties bleeding value. Scottsdale isn't just expensive, it's turning into a luxury bubble on the verge of bursting. Number 2. Mesa. Mesa, Arizona's third-largest city, once offered middle-class families a path to affordable homeownership. But in 2025, it's become one of the riskiest markets in the state. The median home price here is around $430,000, up from just $195,000 in 2014, a stunning 120% increase in a decade. That growth outpaced local incomes, which averaged just $65,000 annually, leaving Mesa hopelessly overvalued. With mortgage rates near 7%, a $430,000 home translates to a monthly payment of roughly $2,850, not counting taxes and insurance. Property taxes add about $2,400 per year, while insurance premiums, rising due to heat damage and flood risks, average $2,100 annually. That means a typical Mesa family would spend nearly 55% of their income just on housing costs. Inventory is another flashing red light. Mesa currently has more than a 7-month supply of homes, with builders stuck trying to unload new subdivisions that were thrown up during the 2020 to 2022 boom. Discounts of $30,000 to $50,000 are common, yet sales remain sluggish. The rental market isn't much better. Average rent is now $1,950 per month, up 40% in just 5 years. For many renters earning Mesa's average wage, that eats up almost half their paycheck. Eviction filings have jumped 22% year over year, reflecting the growing squeeze on working families. What makes Mesa's situation even more precarious is its size. With a population of nearly 520,000, it's not a small market that can quietly absorb losses. It's a massive metro hub whose downturn will ripple across the Phoenix Valley. Investors who poured into Mesa, chasing quick profits, are already retreating, leaving unsold homes and overextended buyers in their wake. Mesa isn't just overpriced. It's a collapsing trap that could drag Arizona's housing market down with it. Number 1. Phoenix. Phoenix, the heart of Arizona's housing boom, is now ground zero for the state's housing crash. The median home price here hovers around $460,000, nearly double the $240,000 median in 2015. That spike made Phoenix one of the hottest markets in the U.S. during the pandemic frenzy. But in 2025, the reversal is brutal. Home prices have already slipped 10% year over year, and analysts warn of further declines as supply floods the market. At today's 7% mortgage rates, a $460,000 home saddles buyers with a monthly payment of nearly $3,050, excluding taxes and insurance. Property taxes average $2,700 annually, while insurance, hit hard by extreme heat, flooding risks, and rising repair costs, has ballooned past $2,500 per year. For Phoenix households earning a median income of about $72,000, these costs are crushing, swallowing nearly 60% of take-home pay just to cover housing. The inventory crisis is staggering. Phoenix now has more than an 8-month supply of homes, compared to less than 2 months during the 2021 frenzy. Builders who once sold out entire subdivisions in days are now dangling massive incentives, tens of thousands in price cuts, free appliances, even mortgage buydowns, just to move stagnant properties. Despite that, homes are sitting on the market for months. Renters aren't escaping the pain either. Average rent in Phoenix has surged to $2,000 per month, up nearly 45% since 2019. With incomes lagging, eviction filings have surged by 30% year over year, a clear warning sign that the housing system is breaking under the weight of inflated costs. Phoenix's market doesn't just impact locals, it's the bellwether for the entire Arizona housing economy. And right now, the signals are terrifying. Overvalued homes, surging costs, and weakening demand are colliding in real time. For buyers, Phoenix isn't the American dream anymore. It's the epicenter of Arizona's housing nightmare.